individuals who are in a position to buy this stuff and watching them like a hawk to make sure that they're not, a part of the whole act of the theft. And that, to me, it would seem, if it can be sold, I mean, they're going to be stealing more of it. If it can't be sold, or there are rigid laws, stringent laws about who you sell it to, that might cut it back a little bit. It might act as a deterrent. What's going on there?
Well, I think the thing is there is a legitimate market for recycling of copper wire, that farmers and construction people, they engage in it for sure. And it should be recycled. It should be properly disposed of. And so, it's a very fine line between locating somebody who's got copper wire for nefarious reasons versus somebody who has copper wire legitimately for business purposes, or they are trying to recycle for whatever. They're picking it up here and there from disposal sites. They're not stealing it. Picking up copper wire that's been disposed of is different than stealing it from someone's property or someone's construction project. And so it is difficult, and that's all the work that has to be done by the boots on the ground. And as I said, the sheriff's department has a great ag task force. They were very well versed in this. I've had many conversations, with the staff on that team over the years, and with both Sheriff Mims and Sheriff Mims, currently now we've been discussing this issue for years and years. Of Prop 27, come in with the drug crimes misdemeanors, and we saw the number of addicts increasing, and then we had the advent of fentanyl coming on. Those are a lot of the times the people who are stealing this copper wire are people who are feeding their addictions. And so I think that the city has done a good job of trying to also come down on the recyclers so that the actual people who are running the recycling businesses know that if they have someone suspicious, that they can also be, a part of the enforcement of it and not recycle that stuff. But they're not, they're business people, they're not law enforcement. So when they have people come into the recycling centers, they sometimes aren't in the know, if you will. They're not taking from criminals knowingly, and maybe sometimes they are if they have the same repeat customers over and over again, and it comes to be a pattern. So they're trying to work with the recyclers to sort of identify those nefarious populations who are doing it criminally.
The theft of copper wire and the like. Is there anything else of this particular category that is also stolen, that's not necessarily copper wire, but prosecuted like copper wire? Is there another victim of these thieves out there other than copper wire? Metals being ripped off by the same thieves?
Not that I'm aware of, not that
Okay.
not that bring any type of real money. But I think one thing that was in the other article that we talked about is to say that the DA's office is not prosecuting copper wire cases is just erroneous. It's not true. We're prosecuting them under different statutes when we meet the requirements. And if people have gun fires for theft and for drug use to make people accountable for felonies, and it's been really successful. We've been able to really keep some of the repeat offenders accountable. It was really quite funny. I got a call from one of the DAs in Northern California where they didn't necessarily prosecute petty theft or drug possession for many years. And she said, "Lisa, how do you use Prop 36? I don't have any priors." And I said, "Well, I guess you're going to have to start from scratch." So we're lucky that our law enforcement has been diligent over the past 10 years, and we do have those priors, and so we're getting those repeat offenders.